turn this game today?
Well, in the semi-final, Dave, I thought that Priddle for St. George was the dominant player on the field. His forces through the rucks, his ability to defend that play the ball area, I thought was outstanding, and I think he'll be the dominant man again. I've got to say, as far as Canberra's concerned, in the semi-final, the centre Mullins wasn't available. He was back last week against Parramatta. I was very impressed by him. He could well be a factor too.
Okay, join us for all the action at 11:15. President's Cup Grand Final, St. George versus Canberra. And of course, everyone has their own prediction of who might win the game. Here's a couple of... In the centre of the field, and both teams for the President's Cup Grand Final are out there. St. George, Heron the captain, Smith, Sava, Walker and Morris the three-quarters, Jackson and Hodges, the forwards, Salmon, Donoher, Rudd, Priddle, Khalil and McVean. The Canberra lineup, Price Jones, McDonald, Mullins, Boyle and Croker the three-quarters, Gregory and Herring the halves, Death at lock, Stone the captain with Field in the second row, Fritz, Boyd and Baker up front. Joining me upstairs is Russell Fairfax, and of course on the sidelines is Billy Anderson. And I just wonder how this game's going to start. We saw a very tense start in the major semi a fortnight ago. As they get the game underway, it's Field who started the game off for the Canberra Raiders, and St. George now bring it back out from their own line, and what a great start from Canberra. Smith plays the ball. Had Sava in a dummy half, scored 2 tries in the major semi after being virtually knocked out. And Fritz let one go, and Ian Heron, the St. George captain, came flying in. Touch judges are in. Referee had already awarded the penalty though.
There's plenty of pressure out there for the start of this game. Canberra in a great position there, about 15 metres out from the St. George goal line, but have given away their advantage, and St. George will turn this around and probably end up around about halfway.
Yes, it wasn't good play from the captain. Well, Billy Anderson, what's it like down there on the sideline at the moment? The first of the game's 3 grand finals.
Well, it's a terrific atmosphere. Grand final day, that's what every coach, every player works for all year, David. These two teams have been the best 2 sides in the under-21s. They deserve to be here. The crowd's starting to stream in, and I'm sure they're going to be treated to some sensational football.
So the upshot of all of that is the penalty which Eddie Ward had given originally. And Shane Walker it is, who kicks for touch and finds it. 12 metres, St. George's side of halfway. St. George take it ahead through McVean. He's been up in reserve grade for part of the season. It's Donoher taking it up. He's had 2 very strong games in the semi-final so far. St. George intent on trying to spread it again. This is Rudd, who started the season, would you believe, with the Canberra club.
Yes, you're right there, David. Not only did he start the season, he versed St. George in the first round clash and actually scored a try for Canberra against St. George. After 4 rounds, he left the Canberra club for reasons unbeknownst to us, and is now a member of the St. George side.
So Canberra with their first touch of the football. And again intent on spreading it wide, and here's half a break down the right flank. They're making some good ground here, Canberra. Flying away with the football, David Boyle. And Boyle, he's still held. He still hasn't got the pass away, and he's only 8 metres away. Penalty. Khalil gets 5 in the sin bin. But Boyle caused them all sorts of troubles. Here's what the penalty was for.
Yes, second tackle, of course, by the St. George hooker. It's unfortunate. It was a good bit of play there by Russell Mullins to put David Boyle away. He drew in 2 defenders and certainly put Boyle through the gap.
Canberra spread it wide. And again, they're trying to catch St. George on the outside. Very good morning to everyone throughout the nation's capital. Of course, they've got a huge day in front of them. They're not only just playing in President's Cup, but reserve and first grade as well. As Fritz takes it ahead. He's held up only about 5 metres out. Boyd, the dummy half. The runner overran him. That's why he didn't get the pass away to Field. He almost ducked in behind the St. George defence himself. They spread it wide again. Now here's a chance. Ball again in a bit of space, but he's held up only 5 metres away. Right down on the St. George line. Good defence from St. George. Hodges is back there. Now can he bring the ball back into the field of play? He can't. And play will restart with the line drop out.
There's certainly the pressure mounts on St. George here, a line drop out. Canberra to receive the ball and a chance to score off another set of 6 tackles. But certainly plenty of breaks out wide for the Canberra boys.
Well, that was an interesting... what a difference this was to the major semi. Billy Anderson, you may remember the major semi. St. George were all over Canberra in the first 5 minutes. This is a direct contrast.
It was very important for the Raiders that they get away to a good start. I think if St. George put early points on them or gone through them early, it would have been another dent in their confidence. But their confidence should be up now. They've handled the opening minutes of this more than adequately.
Baker loses the ball, but a couple of St. George players being hauled out here.
Well, St. George only have 12 men on the field at this stage, and to give away silly penalties like that won't certainly help their cause. I'd hate to see them lose another player, but it may happen.
Sava and Donoghue being pulled out, and so too is Rudd. Captain Ian Heron's up there. And referee Eddie Ward certainly laying down the law. There's no doubts about who the boss is.
No, certainly Eddie Ward standing his authority on this match. During the season proper, though, was a game each to both Saints and Canberra. The Saints going 1-up in the major semi, so it's a chance for Canberra to turn it around.
And here's Fritz, their big front rower. He was a bit quiet in the major semi, but he started a bit more strongly in this game. He seems to have been hurt a little in that tackle. He's still down on his haunches. Canberra, though, 11 metres away from St. George's line as they go the short side, and again, it's Bryce Jones trying to exploit St. George down the right side of the field. Open side comes Canberra. They spread it wide. Here's Mullins. Mullins has got his pass away. Can they keep it going? It's Boyle. Boyle loses the ball. St. George knock it forward. The referee's going to put the scrum down for the knock-on both ways.
Canberra certainly looking to spread the ball wide, and they're finding plenty of gaps out wide. It's only a matter of time, I think, before the St. George defence cracks. They've only got 12 men on the field, so certainly they're going to be short out wide.
And much to a sigh of relief from everyone at the St. George breakfast out there at the St. George Leagues Club. They'd be fairly happy St. George had a feed into the scrum to try and settle things down with possession. As St. George bringing out, that was a good pass, and they just can't keep the movement going. It's where St. George did catch Canberra a few times in the major semi and in their earlier meetings. They've got a very good ability to take the ball to the advantage line, draw players and put players through holes. A good kick deep down inside Canberra's territory. Bryce Jones is back there. St. George down there in numbers, and Bryce Jones can't advance the football much more than about 8 metres out from his own line.
Yes, great kick by Shane Walker. He's probably the best kicker in the St. George club, and they've camped themselves down now in the 22-metre area of Canberra.
Matthew Baker to play it, 20 metres out from his own line. Still no score in the President's Cup Grand Final. Of course, the State Bank will be giving away awards for the man of the match in under-21s, reserve grade and first grade today. St. George bring the ball back to the halfway line. Over on that eastern side of the ground. Heron, the St. George captain, the dummy half. Good defence. 2 good tackles. Field was up there, and so too was Boyd. Sava getting involved very much in the early part of the game.
Yes, he certainly is. The St. George team are very slow to regroup on kick returns. They've had three rucks with virtually the dummy half or one off the ruck taking it up.
Hodges puts the kick in behind the Canberra defence and finds touch on the quarter line.
Yes, neat little kick by Troy Hodges. He's the halfback. Interesting story there. In the first round against Canberra, he broke his leg and was expected to be out for the season. But he's come back, and who could believe he's in the grand final against the team he broke his leg.
So Canberra, 20 metres out from their own line. But just like all of the Canberra sides, they're dangerous from one end of the field to the other. They really love spreading the ball right through the club. Entertaining to watch. But still no score in the President's Cup Grand Final as both teams seem to have settled down now. Great tackle. That was Rudd. A little hooker, Brett Boyd would have felt that one. And again, St. George caught a bit short on the right side of the field. McDonald comes inside. McDonald up to the halfway. Open side, the kick. St. George getting back. That'll go out on the full. Well, that certainly relieves any pressure for St. George. And the score here is 0-0. We'll be back shortly in the President's Cup Grand Final. 0-0 Canberra 0. St. George on the attack as they put the little kick in behind the Canberra defence, and that ball will probably go dead, and it does, and play will restart from the centre of the Canberra quarter line. Well, Graham Hughes has probably one of the many disappointed men who won't be playing today, a man who certainly would have played had he been fit. Graham Hughes and Bradley Clyde.
Thanks, David. Well, Bradley, it's been a tough week for you sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, the boys are training, and while they're all training and getting ready for the game, I sit back and look forward to next season, I suppose.
They've done it all well at training this week?
Yeah, they've been, as usual, you know, all three grades are in it, and it seems like just another club game. I hope that they, you know, they've prepared themselves rightly. I'm sure they have. They're back at the hotel room now and just watching telly, and I'm sure the butterflies will be going through.
All right, I'm sure they're watching. Good luck to you too. You've been a big part of the Roosevelt this season.
Thanks very much, Graham.
Graham Hughes with Bradley Clyde as Canberra kick downfield again. The St. George captain, the fullback Ian Heron, back on his own quarter line, bringing it backward. He's going to play the ball. That's 30 metres out from his own line. Well, Russell, is there any pattern developing yet?
Well, both sides are trying to play it wide, but the way I see it, there's a lot of yards up the middle, and it's only a matter of time before the dummy halves start to sneak and keeps the defence honest, that's for sure. But it's been a very free-flowing game, and it's going to get more free-flowing as the players tire.
I get the distinct feeling, Billy Anderson, that little Perry Haddock has decided to keep Priddle out of the action in the first 20 minutes or so. We just haven't seen him.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's a good tactic. If you've got a dynamic player, it's important you use him. What's he saving him for? 1991. But, you know, I'm sure that he will get involved with the game. I'll tell you what I have noticed from down here. Both teams playing a straight line of defence and no sweeper. A lot of space back if they're brave enough to try a chip kick that could turn the match.
Canberra with the ball. Midway half and quarter line. Good run. This will be a penalty. Well, there's been a few of them in this game, holding the player down. And it's Rudd again. I think he's been pinged a couple of times for the same offence.
Well, he's looking to get square with his ex-Canberra teammates, there's no doubt about that.
Well, he had a big smile on his face after the major semi 2 weeks ago. Different ball game this afternoon, or this morning. Does that affect you very much when you're used to playing at, say, midday and then you've got to start a game at 11:15?
No, I don't think these boys would be too concerned about that. They'd just be happy to be out there on the paddock, being a part of this grand final day.
Canberra bring it back. This is the prop in Baker. He's down on the quarter line. Again, they're trying to spread it here, Canberra, as it comes across the line, but he's offside, that player, and St. George have picked it up. It's Jackson who's got it. And Canberra, I think, they're caught in no man's land. It looked to be Anthony Herring. He didn't know whether to pick the ball up. If he had it, he would have given away a penalty. St. George bring it back through Dean Morris. St. George trying to get it wide very quickly here, and the intercept almost brought off. Well, there wasn't much in that.
Yes, David Boyle would have scored a try for sure if he holds onto that pass. It was a bit of a floater out there. I certainly wouldn't have thrown it in the grand final.
Oh, come on, you used to throw passes like that.
But never in the grand final.
St. George off the back of the scrum. Here's Hodges. Well, that's the closest probably either team has gone to scoring so far in the grand final. We've got just on 19 minutes remaining in the first half of the President's Cup grand final. It's still St. George 0, Canberra 0. As Rudd takes it ahead. 10 metres his own side of halfway. Khalil the hooker. Back to Walker. Walker again, kicking for that eastern touch line, and he finds it. What a good kick.
Yes, great kick by Walker. The St. George officials certainly have him earmarked as the first grade player of the future.
Yes, there's a couple of them out there. The State Bank replay showing just how effective that good kick from Walker was. Yes, he's one, of course, who really did gain some benefit by having the fortnight off, Russell. He played injured in the first match against Penrith in the final series, and he really looked as if he'd take no further part of the final series when he was carried from the field. And then he was taken from the field around about half-time in the major semi. And the fortnight he's had off certainly seems to have done that injured knee the world of good.
Well, we haven't seen a great deal of him with the ball, but that's to come.
And he's been able to kick, which is probably a major factor in Perry Haddock being able to at least play the football for some of the time down Canberra's end of the field. It's Canberra bringing the ball back. That was a forward pass, and the referee's got it. Thought was right.
Yes, he's been spot on, Eddie Ward, with all his decisions so far. Very entertaining game because of Eddie.
Steve Stone it was getting the pass away. Of course, what a year it'd be for him. He captained South Sydney to win the President's Cup here last year. Here he is captaining Canberra.
I can only think of one other player that may have done that, captained two sides to grand final win, and of course the other man is Steve Edge.
Now here's Priddle. We haven't seen much of him. He and Hodges worked brilliantly to set up the first try a few weeks ago. He works very close to the ruck, Tony Priddle. It'll be interesting to see what they do from here. St. George just 18 metres away. Hodges on his own. Hodges is still going. Hodges has got support. Hodges doesn't need it. He scores. St. George are in for the first try of the grand final. Troy Hodges scored. St. George 4, Canberra 0.
And the St. George players are certainly excited about that first try. It's a great try.
Replay. Let's have a look at it, Russell. Really all he did was just step them. That's all he did. He just ran through a feeble tackle in the end and scored the try. He had support. He didn't need Robert Jackson, though. Head on.
He did it all himself.
He got round field easily.
Yes, certainly did. Came to Anthony Herring, said bye-bye Anthony, and scored adjacent to the post for a pretty easy shot by conversion by Ian Herring.
And Billy Anderson, you've had a bit to do with this fellow. You've certainly seen a lot of him. That's the sort of form we saw him display. And at one stage this season, we thought we wouldn't see him at all at this part of the year.
Yeah, exactly right. He's a boy I taught at Gymea High School, and from the age of 12, he also always displayed outstanding talents. I think he's a real star of the future, young Troy Hodges. He's only 18 years of age now.
He's a good organiser. He's been organising all their attack to date. Been terrific.
Ian Herron, the St. George captain, to take the kick. Gotcha, mate. After weathering that early storm, I think it was fair to say that Canberra were on top for the first 10 minutes.
Yes, David Boyle nearly scored a couple of tries in the first 10 minutes section there. The St. George, to their credit, have come back and have played perhaps the last 10 minutes or so down the Canberra end, and have just gradually built the pressure, and was inevitable that someone was going to crack.
So Ian Herron with the opportunity to stretch the St. George margin to 6. 12 metres out, almost in front. Herron moves in, strikes it sweetly, and St. George take the early lead in the President's Cup Grand Final. St. George 6, Canberra 0. Final at St. George 6, Canberra 0, but Canberra right on the attack here. They've got a chance to score. Taking the ball up strongly was deep. He slips the pass away. It's going very close. Boyd, he's only half a metre away from the St. George line. They go one way. I'm still not quite sure. Deep standing there. Can he get his pass away? He can't. They've lost the ball. St. George have come up with it. Well, they've weathered that storm pretty well, St. George. They've certainly got a great boost of confidence out of scoring that converted try. Now they'll just have to take the ball out slowly for 6 tackles and steady things down. It's St. George 6, Canberra 0. Let's go back to Graham Hughes because he's got some more very special guests.
Thanks, David Morrow. In fact, we've got Leonie Alexander, Greg Alexander's mum. Who's been doing it tougher during the week? Greg or yourself?
Me. Me, most definitely.
Has he settled down?
Yes, he's very settled.
Have you spoken to him this morning?
No, I haven't.
You're staying away from him?
Yes, I am.
Well, how are you going to do the day? Pretty tough.
Yes, very tough. Yes, very tough.
It's been a long time coming. I know you're very nervous. Thanks for joining us. Good luck.
Thanks, Graham.
All right, also the Daily Mirror Channel 10 Dally and Player of the Year, Clippy Lyons. How do you see it today?
Well, I think it's going to be a great, fantastic game, and I'm not going to pick any winners. I hope it's going to be a good game.
Australian team selected tonight. A bit nervous about Kangaroos, maybe, too?
Oh, I just got to keep my fingers crossed and just take it as it comes.
All right, good luck.
Thanks, Graham.
Gregory with the ball just inside St. George's territory. St. George leading 6 points to 0. Converted try scorer was Hodges. Herron kicked the goal as Canberra have the ball just inside St. George's territory. Stone can't slip the pass away. Had support on the outside, but they're starting to run out of space over on that side of the field. Open side comes Canberra again. The kick in behind the St. George defence. Getting back there, St. George, they've almost made a mess of it. Dean Morris did well in the end, but my word, didn't David Boyle come through at 100 miles an hour to apply the pressure. That bounce almost falling into Ball's lap. Khalil, the dummy half, Priddle, got that pass away. This is where St. George can be dangerous. Heron's up over the halfway. Oh, he's had the pass intercepted. Now can they score here? Darren McDonald. No. He's still going. Well. Now we're starting to see the sort of football we expected. A lot of backline movement. It comes out wide again. Herring to Boyle. Boyle's got his pass away on this side of the field, and only just in the end was McDonald put on the deck. Bryce Jones. Fritz isn't the receiver. Now it comes away. This is deep. Deciding to go from dummy half. Gregory. Only 10 metres away. Now it's Baker. The ball popped up in the air. And it's Rudd who comes up in possession for St. George.
Yes, St. George have weathered another storm by the Canberra Raiders.
Let's go down to David Fordham.
Thank you, David Morrow. And with me is Kathy, a very proud Panther supporter. We've got the Ian Head's great book with the Kangaroos Going Away, Kathy. It's a fabulous book. Young Bradley, your son, wanted to have it, but he had a look at Wally and started crying.
Yeah, a bit nervous, a bit excited about the day.
Yeah, okay. Obviously tipping a Penrith victory.
Yes.
Okay. Enjoy the day and enjoy Ian Head's great book.
Right.
It's about the Kangaroos.
Thank you very much.
This will be a penalty to St. George. It's against McDonald, I think, for pinching the football. I'm certain it was McDonald. There he is. So St. George, gee, they've had to weather some storms, Russell. I mean, Canberra have had, I would have thought, the better of the first half, and yet St. George are leading 6-0.
Yes, Canberra have had all the territorial advantage, but they're failing to convert their chances. They need to do this, and they need to do it before the first half is over if they're to be a show.
There's 7 minutes left in the first half, and it's still St. George leading by 6 points to 0. Khalil with the ball now. This little hooker, they talk about him at St. George as saying he's the man that wants to keep playing when the final whistle's blown.
Well, they've let Bailey go, so he's a chance to play first grade next year, young Khalil.
And I certainly think that's where he'll finish up. Jackson in behind the defence. Jackson being chased. Jackson almost in space. Jackson back on the inside. That looked to be a forward pass to Walker. He dropped it anyway. And the referee's going to rule the scrum for the forward pass.
Again, Eddie Ward spot on to make the decision in line with that pass, and to me it looked forward.
Forward pass and good football from McDonald. He went for Walker, who was carrying the ball on his right arm, and made sure that he didn't score the try, even if Eddie Ward hadn't picked up the forward pass.
Yes, St. George looking good with the ball, especially down this end of the field.
This is Baker. Started the game in headgear. He's discarded that. Maybe he's just starting to get a bit warm down there to wear headgear too. There's the little halfback, Anthony Herring, scurries around looking for an opening.
Terry Haddock's done some overtime on the St. George defence, worked overtime on the St. George defence. They look very competent out there. And whilst for the first 10 minutes perhaps Canberra looked hot, they well and truly have been shut down now when they have the ball. Good stuff by St. George. They're spreading the field well in defence.
Last tackle, gee, that was well picked up by Gregory. That wasn't a good pass, and he still managed to have plenty of time to put his kick in. St. George bring it back through Smith. Sabbath from dummy half. He's been in and around the play a lot, hasn't he?
He's playing very well, Evan Sava. A winger who's been converted to centre has been an outstanding success.
McVean brings it up to within 5 metres of the halfway. Talil, the dummy half. Open side, they bring it again, St. George. That was almost forward to Priddle too.
Almost a hospital pass as well.
Walker, he'll kick for that eastern touchline, or he might be just kicking for depth. try and keep the ball down Canberra's end of the field. There's only 5 minutes left in the first half. It won't go dead. St. George are down there in numbers, and St. George can't prevent the ball coming back into the field of play. Good football from Jason Croker, because St. George had 3-on-1 when he started to bring the football back, and that could have easily been disaster for Canberra. As McDonald brings the ball out. 13 metres out now from Canberra's line. Penalty against St. George. They're all up inside the 5.
Got the ball, he bounces off the defence and back in the other direction. Oh, what a sidestep! He's split him and gone through the middle. He draws the fullback, but there's no support. Where's he going now?
So St. George out there at the moment, being spoken to as Sava, who's had a mighty first half at the moment, but again, Eddie Ward has spotted some misdemeanour. The penalty still with Canberra, and now I think that's Baker who's being spoken to as well by the referee. Except for the first 10 or 12 minutes of the game, we've hardly had a caution since then. Once they settled down and played football, the penalty goes Canberra's way just outside their quarter line. St. George 6, Canberra 0. 3.5 minutes remaining in the first half of the President's Cup Grand Final. Canberra will be desperate to put some points on with this group of 6 tackles. As it wide, it comes out now to Mullins. Mullins has got away from his man. He's got a heap of pace. Mullins down to the corner line. He's gone without his boots too, I think. He's lost both of them. I thought for a second he managed to pinch a pair of Graham Langland's boots there, but what it was, there he is, look at him, with white socks. That's the socks that he's running in, because he came out of both boots back towards the halfway line.
A great cover there by a second row, Jeremy Donoher.
Well, he's had a mighty final series as Donoher. Donoher brought off an incredible tackle against Penrith in the first of the final series in cover defence, which probably gave St. George the victory that day. And for a second rower to keep cover as much ground as he does, it's quite amazing.
Yes, Brett Mullins made it a bit easy without any boots on. I'm sure he would have almost got there with his boots on.
Well, he's still down putting them on, so St. George are playing against 12 men at the moment. I know it's one of Rex Mossett's pet aversions. Why can't they get boots that fit? Well, at least make sure they stay on. Remember back years ago, you used to tape your boots up. Remember, tape them on?
Yes, I thought they still did that. I've no doubt that his boots will be taped on after that run.
So right on half-time. Well, Canberra have created some opportunities, but haven't been able to convert them into points. It's St. George 6, leading Canberra 0. Approaching half-time in the President's Cup Grand Final. And don't forget, still to come on Channel 10's huge Grand Final extravaganza is the reserve grade Grand Final between Brisbane and Canberra, and first grade between the Panthers and the Raiders. Beautiful pass, slipped away and well picked up too, I might add. First grade, of course, uninterrupted this afternoon as Canberra bring the ball down this side of the field, and still Mullins is down on the field putting his boots on. This is unbelievable. Doesn't take that long to put them on, surely. Gregory hoists it high. Heron's getting under it. Plenty of Canberra Raiders putting the pressure on it. Heron takes it superbly and brings it back, and he's only just ankle tapped from behind. If Boyle hadn't got him, I can assure you that Heron would have only had to beat Bryce Jones to score.
Yes, great take by Heron. He's had a fine game, made a couple of breaks, and always been safe under pressure.
So back towards the halfway line, St. George played. Khalil, Salmon. The pass slipped away to Jason Smith, who plays it just inside Canberra's territory. St. George bring it back again for Walker, kicking for that eastern touchline, sending Bryce Jones all the way back to the dead ball line, but again, well, this time it does just go dead.
Geez, I'm surprised. Looks like Perry Haddock has targeted Jason Croker's wing to kick to. We haven't seen much of Jason Croker yet, except for one good kick return, but he obviously thinks that's the weak link.
Break at half-time, do we, Al? So almost half-time in the President's Cup Grand Final. And St. George will be fairly pleased at this stage, because really it's only been their great defence which has kept them in the game. McVean and Khalil in there again. Canberra trying to put something on that eastern side of the field, as it's Stone going across field. He'll play it just inside Canberra's territory. Baker to the halfway line. Good defence from St. George. It was right round his legs. They'll have time for this play the ball, and that's it. The siren will go any moment as the kick's in behind the St. George defence. Heron comes back for it. Heron grabs the ball. Heron will just take the tackle. He'd be quite prepared, the St. George captain, to go in at half-time in the President's Cup Grand Final. St. George leading Canberra.
All hard luck stories. 14 young kids have travelled down from Morrow, 774 kilometres. Haven't got tickets to get inside, Kevin. It's a big disappointment for them.
It is. We've got 7 boys in, and we only got these few to go. So we hope that some ticket sales will come down, and we're going to get these few in too.
Okay, well, to ease the pain for the Morrow Police Boys Club football side, this marvellous book on the saga of the Kangaroos from Ian Heads, and I hope the kids really enjoy it.
Thanks very much.
Okay, what about your tip, kids?
Up the Raiders!
The Raiders. Inside the stadium, the man who wrote this magnificent book, Ian Heads, one of Australia's leading rugby league writers, is with Graham Hughes.
One of the best sporting writers. In fact, David, for Ian Heads, a labour of love, the Kangaroos.
Yeah, very much so, Graham. The Kangaroo experience has been part of my life for a long time. I covered a couple of tours and was part of 2 others, and I'm delighted to have had that involvement. Great to get a chance to put it down on paper too, the story of a great tour.
And you spoke to some players from way, way back.
Yeah, I was very lucky. I even got a player from the 1921-22 tour, the late Herman Peters, who I saw not long before he died, and interviewed players from all the other tours since then, and that's an integral part of the book I finished up writing, their personal experiences and what they thought about being a kangaroo.
Also some stories that have finally been told about those tours that maybe some players didn't think they should be able to make public at some stage.
Yeah, a few of them have sneaked out over the years. I guess the ones like the bowler hat story, which is one of the most famous of all, has been a secret story for years, but gradually time softened that a little bit, and I've tried to throw a little bit of light on that in the book I did. But some stories can't be written, of course, but I've tried to make it as honest a book as I can.
Okay. All right. Well, there's some of those great photographs, and it is a great read at all major bookstores and good retail stores. Let's take you now to our call of the Sydney Credit Union. 4x100. This is the under-18s, and they have to run with the football. Our caller in this match is Richard Bremner.
In lane 2, representing the big improvers in the Winfield Cup competition, the Illawarra Steelers, the number 1 runner, and from the Port Kembla Club, wing 3/4, Chris Collias. Running at number 2 for the Steelers, and from the Collegian Club, wing 3/4, Shane Wilson. Number 3 for the Illawarra Steelers, a Southern Division and New South Wales CHS representative champion in 1991, and from the Collegian Club, halfback Charlie Cordina. The final Illawarra Steeler, originally from the Port Kembla Club, and now with the Steelers under-21, fullback Ben Daven. Representing the Eastern Suburbs Roosters in lane 3, runner number 1 from the Nelson Sports Club, a 1989 beach sprint champion, and in 1990, New South Wales and Sydney Rugby League rep player, wing 3/4, John Minto. The number 2 Eastern Suburbs runner in from the Paddington Colts, a former combined Catholic schools rep, centre 3/4, Chris Papastavros. Running at number 3 for the Roosters, a combined high schools rep player in 1988 from the Paddington Colts, 5'8", George Ziambas. The final Eastern Suburbs runner, and from the Paddington Colts, a 1989 Australian schoolboys rep, a 1990 New South Wales and Sydney under-19 rep. A centre, 3/4, destined for rugby league stardom, Jeff Orford. The final team in this 1990 Sydney Credit Union Relay Final, and representing the Western Suburbs Magpies. Runner number 1 from the Campbelltown Collegians, a centre 3/4, a member of the St Gregory's 1989 Commonwealth Bank Cup team, Matthew Freckle. The number 2 Western Suburbs runner, and from the Lamia Club, 5'8", Scott Daly. The number 3 Magpie, and from the Lamia Club, a Metropolitan CHS rep in 1989, halfback Jason Small. The final runner in the Sydney Credit Union Relay Final for 1990, originally from the Liverpool City Club, now with the Western Suburbs under-21s, centre 3/4, Jason Benz. That's our field for today. They should run this in about 46 and a half seconds.
They're all set to go. Richard, you start them, or how do we get it going?
Well, our chairman of the City Credit Union, Jack Kiners, wished the runners well on their way. Now in the hands of our starter, Bill Edwards, a former professional athletic champion, winner of the famous Storwell Gift. He's over there to start this race today.
Get on your marks!
A good clean start in the Sydney Credit Union Final for 1999. as Eastern Suburbs go towards the halfway mark for the first time, followed by Western Suburbs, Parramatta and Illawarra. With 300 metres to go, they change over on the Paddington end of the ground. It's still Eastern Suburbs from Western Suburbs with 250 metres to go at the halfway mark. It's Eastern Suburbs with Western Suburbs coming home strongly in the second 100 metres. Another lot of good changeover. Now they come from that third changeover, and it's Western Suburbs now from Parramatta, Eastern Suburbs and Illawarra, and we're in for an exciting finish here in this 4x100 metre relay today for the Sydney Credit Union. The final changeover, and here they go. With just on 75 metres to go, it's Parramatta that's streaking ahead from Illawarra, Western Suburbs and Eastern Suburbs. That's how they're going to finish. The Parramatta side, they've won this relay for 1990 and won it in great style coming from behind.
The mighty Eels, eh?
What about that, Tony?
Well, I think he did a great job too. Well, I know the Parramatta boys going to come over and accept a trophy.
Yeah, they're coming over with their manager, Bill Black.
That was fantastic. The lead changed, of course, a few times there. I thought East off to a great start, weren't they?
Well, yeah, they looked like they had it shot to bits about halfway through, but then Parramatta come out of the clouds. Western Suburbs made an effort to get there, and that's the way it is.
Well, I know the boys are a bit puffed, but we've only got about a minute before the boys run back on the field.
About 3 metres in the end.
They can't run, they're exhausted. We'll give them a big round of applause as they come on over to accept their trophies. Parramatta victors. Champions of the future.
So there they are, our first winners of the day, Parramatta and the Sydney Credit Union Sprint Under-18s, maybe some champions of the future. We'll take a break, then be back with the second half of the President's...
Nil. St. George on the attack early in the second half as they get to the ball within 20 metres of the Canberra line, and Rudd's going to be forced to play it on the quarter line. Almost in centre field. St. George might even think about the field goal at this early stage of the second half. 12 metres out. Hodges plays the ball. Khalil. Out it comes to Jackson. Jackson puts the little kick in behind the defence. It might be too long. Getting back there, Croker in the end thought about having to knock it dead. He didn't need to. And play will restart from the centre of the quarter line. State Bank replay.
Yes, well left actually by the young Croker. He could have collected that one and forced himself into a line drop out, but no, used a cool head and enabled Canberra to take a 22-metre tap. Put them on the attack.
Fritz it was who played the ball. Let's go down to the sideline. Billy Anderson, what was said at half-time?
Firstly, Dave, no changes in personnel and also no changes in tactics. You are going to find Mickey Doyle, the Canberra coach, he did think that his side dropped off in intensity towards the end of that half, asked for a bigger effort. Perry Haddock thought that they never had a great deal of field position and maybe could improve their kick chase a little.
See, that was beautifully picked up by Deep, but the referee just knocked it on. The referee's pulling it back for a scrum. St. George will feed the ball into the scrum. Well, they won't be happy with that, the Canberra Raiders camp, making a mistake early in the second half. St. George will pick up possession. They're leading 6-0. I'm just wondering when they might just get down there and try to pop over the field goal, Russell, make it a little bit easier, leading 7-0.
Well, certainly not a silly idea. They've made plenty of space out wide.
Ian Heron it is who almost ducked in behind the defence of Mullins. Have a look at the tape he's got on his boots now. He won't lose them in the second half. There's a good run from Walker, takes the ball 13 metres inside Canberra's territory. Look at that. I'll need a saw or something to get those off. Oh, Khalil brilliantly picked it up the first time and then couldn't control it. The scrum to go down just outside the quarter line. And Canberra will feed it in about 15 metres in from touch on the eastern side of the ground.
Finding plenty of yards now, the St. George forwards. They're really taking the game to Canberra.
Open side come the Raiders. Bryce Jones to play it just outside his quarter line. Boyle goes from dummy half. Decides to take on the forwards himself and does a pretty good job of it, actually. He pinched a good 10 metres there.
He's been Canberra's best player to date, and he's keeping his side alive. He needs plenty of help from the 12 other fellows, though.
Canberra almost on the halfway. Fritz on the edge of the ruck. Fritz has gone straight through. He's looking for support. He can't find it back on the inside or on the outside. St. George did well to recover from that, but he'll play it almost on the St. George quarter line. Quickly, the ball swung away again to Mullins, and Mullins can't find the space down the left side of the field. Last tackle against Canberra. 18 metres away. Mullins has been injured, I think. Well, took his time to get up. Now it comes away. It's Gregory who hoists it high. It's coming down in the field of play. They all go high. That looked to be knocked on. And it is, says the referee. And it's a handover to St. George just out from their own line.
The golden opportunity gone begging for the Canberra side. If they'd have picked the ball up there, 6 more, but I think they may have even scored under the post.
St. George who run it out. 12 metres out, it's Khalil who was the dummy half, and they slip the pass away again. Heron it is who's going to be tackled just outside the quarter line. In fact, it's not. It's Jason Smith. Donaher.
Even early in this second half, David, St. George look as though they want to use that short side, and most of their attack has been aimed down there.
The kick, not a good one from Walker, straight to Price Jones, and Price Jones trying to link up on the far side of the field with McDonald. McDonald comes back inside. He's got away from one. He's away from two. Over the halfway, the big man goes. Just inside St. George's territory. Mullins. Herring. Out wide it comes to Baker. This is Boyle again, and Boyle again has got round his man. Boyle almost in the clear. Boyle has got Khalil chasing him. Here's Heron coming across, but Boyle, does he stop? No, the referee says play on, fair try. David Boyle. Great try, and the Canberra fans starting to really enjoy this. State Bank replay.
Yeah, great stuff by David Boyle. He's been the form player for Canberra all game. He nearly crossed for a couple of tries, but here he just shows a fleet of foot and leaves the St. George defence floundering. Almost blows it though. Gets tripped here by Khalil, but gets up, manages to scramble over, and looks like he may even it to St. George. For Canberra, still a kick to come to even it up, but they're right back in the ball game.
Here it is again. He got on the outside of Salmon, the lock forward. He brushed away him easily. And then coming across in cover, it was McVean and Khalil, the hooker and the prop. The hooker put him off balance, but putting him off balance was enough for him to evade Heron. No double movement, fair try. So he scored 2 tries in the major semi against St. George, almost in that very spot, and he scored another one today.
Plenty of pressure on the Canberra goal kicker, Gavin Price-Jones, but pressure won't be new to him. He landed a goal 5 minutes before full-time in the final last week to send it into overtime, so this won't be too difficult for him as far as pressure goes. But it's a fairly difficult kick.
Price-Jones from just outside the quarter line. He struck it pretty well. He struck it very well. It's a great kick. Scores a level in the President's Cup Grand Final. St. George 6, Canberra 6.
David, thank you very much. Yes, a man who I guess is pretty nervous, not because of the result, but because of the day going successfully. General Manager of the New South Wales League, John Quayle, how do you feel?
Well, it is a day that you feel nervous. I think the adrenaline's pumping, like I know that all the teams have participated in, Ian, because it's going to be a great day. It's topped off what has been, again, one of the greatest years in rugby league, and I'm sure that the two teams playing today has really made it worthwhile.
Just come back to you, John. There's a try. A try. Jason Deeth has scored a try after a St. George error. Jason Deeth has picked it up. Magnificent pass back on the inside, and Deeth. St. George sent the kick downfield, and coming across, the error was made, and then it was picked up and away they went. Croker made the first break. Back on the inside, he found support, and then all of a sudden, looming up on the inside, Jason Deeth picked it up magnificently to go over and score a try and put Canberra in front. And there it is again. State Bank replay graphically shows just how brilliantly he picked that ball up. Ian Maurice.
All about, isn't it? And so let's hope every game's like that. There are plenty of tries today, and everyone enjoys it.
We're going to ask you for a tip.
Well, I don't usually tip, but I'd like to see a draw, and we'll replay on Wednesday night. You can play these games every day of the week, and let's hope we can do it today.
Good luck, John. Good luck for a great day.
Thanks very much.
John Quayle, back for the kick, David.
So Price-Jones from right in front of the posts, 11 metres out. And he's got it. 2 more points to Canberra. And Canberra now, within the space of 5 minutes, have put on 2 converted tries to lead St. George by 12 points to 6. St. George have to bring it back, and it's Canberra making 2 big breaks down that right side of the field. So that was just an error. Let's go outside again, John Quayle, and then we've got Jack Gibson.
Yes, Jack, I just had John Quayle on. He's on for 30 seconds. We picked up a try. How do you see today's big game going?
Well, I expect last year's premiers to win it. I wasn't saying that too. I'm certainly not death riding Penrith. You know, they've done a remarkable job to get there. I just think the experience they've had and being there. There's a terrific advantage. Yeah. But there'll be a lot of points scored, I feel, with the fast ground, so we mightn't get too much refereeing controversy.
I hope not. Penrith have got some experienced players, but Canberra have that experience in a grand final as a team, don't they?
Well, that's a great start, tremendous start. Besides that, they've had a lot more players in the state of origin and also in the Australian team. All that experience just adds up to some points, I feel.
Okay, Jack Gibson likes Canberra. Yeah, back to you, David.
And here's Khalil making a great bust. He got it away to Evan Sava, and Sava's tackled just outside the quarter line. The St. George keep it going again. Heron, he can't get his pass away on that far side of the field. St. George on the last tackle, 18 metres out. The kick goes up. St. George charging through. It's going to come down just to the end goal. In the end, I think you'll find it's going to be a 22 tap because it was well taken back there by the little halfback Anthony Herring.
Yes, that St. George side just will not lay down. They're not going to give up. They're going to take it back to the Canberra boys. This game isn't over yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if Canberra went for a sneak field goal down St. George end when they get there. Man, this could wrap the game up. A mistake by Canberra there. Put a scrum down right on the 22-metre mark. Middle of the field, St. George feed.
St. George will certainly apply some pressure from here. Referee wants the ball put in again. Jackson, away it comes, out to Walker. Walker, he's strong and he's also got a good step, but he's held up by good defence out there. Only 10 metres out now from the Canberra line as it comes the open side. Morris, and he's tackled, still only 8 or 9 metres away. Khalil, he finds a runner out there in Donoghue. Donohue's held up 5 metres away. Rudd's coming onto the ball. Rudd doesn't get it. And going without the football, St. George have turned over possession and Canberra come up with it. Well, what a contrast. In the first half, it was Canberra who were throwing the ball away. And this area of the field, this half, it's St. George. Baker to get up and play it.
Canberra looking like the more experienced side out here at the present time. Remember, they were runners-up last year in this particular grade, and they're out to make amends. And they look on the way to a victory here at this stage. There's only just on 20 minutes left to play, and Canberra are leading 12 points to 6.
Just outside the quarter line, Canberra play it. This is Stone, the last year captain South to victory in the President's Cup. At the moment, he's on the way to back-to-back President Cup grand final wins. The kick from Gregory. Heron back there to take it on his own quarter line. 10 metres in from that eastern line, he seemed to cop one around the head there. I don't think it was on purpose. He played that ball incorrectly and he's got away with it.
He was hit high. Heron's been hit high. They don't want to lose him. He's been one of their better players and can score a try.
Rudd slips the pass away to Paul Hughes, who's come onto the field, but he's lost the ball in the tackle and the scrum will go down. 11 metres in St. George's territory, almost to centre field. Another replacement, Billy Anderson.
Thomas rolls in 46, goes onto the field, replacing 37, Peter Field.
Scrum to go down in another attacking position, really, for Canberra. This Field comes off.
He's had a strong game, Peter Field. Very dominant there in the early parts of the game with some strong runs and some real solid defence.
They go the blind side on the wraparound. Herring, he's got that pass away that looked almost forward, but in the end he gave his centre partner coming in, Mullins, no chance at all to avoid the touchline. Let's go down to the outside area of the stadium again. Ian Maurice with the Penrith sponsor, Peter Dada.
Peter, congratulations on getting the side into the grand final. It's a fantastic achievement.
Beyond all expectations. Beyond. It's flabbergasting at the moment.
You picked the side up as a sponsor fairly late, too.
Very quick, in 5 days. Got them, signed them up in 5 days.
Well, you couldn't be more delighted with the exposure you've had all year, and today's going to top a magnificent season for you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Your wife, Tina's here. Tina, were you a Penrith supporter before?
No, but I certainly am now.
Congratulations. Look, here's some Fidel Sassoon products for you. Enjoy the day. Back to you, David.
Thank you.
Okay.
And another mistake there from St. George. This time it was Tony Rudd. 12 metres out from the Canberra quarter line. 15 metres in from touch on this side of the field. Herring, Gregory, Price Jones in the line, the fullback. Midway half and quarter line. Canberra leading St. George 12 points to 6. St. George had led 6-0 at half-time as Deep, who scored the try that put Canberra in front as tackle, just inside Canberra's territory. Fritz takes it to the halfway line.
This is the time of the match where Steve Stone's leadership qualities will certainly come into being. Canberra certainly needs someone just to head them in the right direction. With that, I think they can win it from here, but they'll be looking to Steve Stone to do it.
And there he is at the moment. He'll play the ball about 35 metres out from the St. George line. Last tackle against Canberra. As again, it's going to be Gregory having a long-range shot at field goal. Looks pretty good off the beat. I think it's there. The referee says yes, and that might well be the clincher.
Well, I hate to say
field goal.
I hate to say it, but I did mention that they'd probably have a shot at one, and it was a great field goal.
State Bank replay. Look at that. Magnificent shot straight over the black dot, and Jason Gregory may well have won the grand final for Canberra with that field goal. Canberra leading St. George 13-6.
In 82, they were invincible. In 86, they were awesome. The 1990 Kangaroo Tour of Great Britain is set to be the best yet, exclusively on Channel 10.
Premierships, of course, in reserve grade against Brisbane, and in the big one, which you can see uninterrupted on Channel 10 this afternoon from 3 o'clock against Penrith. Penalty against Canberra. Boyle, who's been one of their real magicians here today, said to be offside. They really have attacked this wing in the second half. Andrew Watson, who's just come onto the field as a replacement, finding a bit of difficulty handling that. He had his heart in his mouth for a minute, thinking he might well have conceded possession.
Yes, Jason Gregory certainly peppering their members' side touchline with a great kicking game, putting immense pressure on St. George. We've already seen one try come as a result of a kick by Gregory. Will we see another?
Khalil from dummy half. The hooker trying to do it on his own. St. George in the middle of the field. This is Priddle. Taken round the shoulder, says the referee. Jackson, Hodges, Heron. Heron puts the little chip over the top for the gain. Canberra had the answer to everything St. George have put on so far in the second half. That time it was the little hooker Boyd who was back there. A penalty against St. George up inside the 5. And they're starting to lose their cool a bit, St. George. Canberra coming home by far the better team. Let's go outside again, because Canberra's #1 supporter, Ros Kelly's with Ian Maurice.
Thank you, David. Ros Kelly, you must be have butterflies right now, eh?
I'm really been chewing my fingernails. I can't go and see them before the game. I just get too nervous. And I think we can win, but I'll just believe it when I see it. I mean, after the last year's grand final, I just don't think I can live through another one like that.
Well, you're ahead 15-6 in the under-21s.
Oh, phew. But that's a good argument. But it's so hard to field 3 grades.
Yes.
Really is.
Well, you're off to a great start, and here they go again, David.
And here's Canberra again on the attack, but they seem to have knocked the ball on, and they have, as they had a great attacking opportunity out wide. And the scrum will go down just 10 metres out from St. George's line.
The game really opening up for the Canberra team now. St. George tiring and frustrated. They did go into this game as favourites, but Canberra have certainly turned the table, and it looks like they may win their first lower grade title.
So St. George have got just 10 minutes left to try and turn this match around. Watson back towards the quarter line. Khalil. Here's the replacement Hughes. Open side again comes St. George. I'll have to put something on, but they haven't been allowed to do anything in this second half. Also given away some penalties. Sava slips the pass away, and eventually it comes out onto the far side. Morris made the break, but he's knocked the ball forward.
St. George have to play catch-up football if there to be any chance, and unfortunately catch-up football leads to mistakes. I can see Canberra scoring at least another try, maybe 2 more tries.
Well, he's ruled that ball deliberately forward. As Canberra again bring the ball back towards the St. George quarter line. 20 metres out from the St. George line. Rolls it is who plays it. As again, Canberra right on the attack again. 10 metres out from the St. George line. They've got the game seemingly wrapped up at this stage. The little kick in behind the St. George defence. But back there this time was Watson, who knocked his own man straight out of the road. And Watson starts on a run upfield. In fact, Heron's still down on the ground in the end goal area. Well, that was commitment. Sava. Crossfield. That was commitment plus from Watson.
Yes, complete disregard for his own personal safety. Retrieve a dicey situation there.
The ball, Heron tried to get that pass away quickly. He's recovered well enough to be out amongst the line. St. George having to do it from their own goal line. 8 minutes left in the match. Canberra leading St. George 15 points to 6. Metres out from their own line. Walker thought about the kick. Walker decides to go up the right touchline before putting the kick in down towards Bryce Jones, back on his quarter line. Running across field, Bryce Jones is well caught. It's a good tackle. That was Hodges, who scored St. George's try in the first half. Canberra just quite content now to hold possession, put the ball down the other end of the field, and that should be enough.
Yes, very much a numbers game for Canberra now. Just hold the ball, play out the 4 or 5 tackles, and then proceed to gain some advantage by pushing the ball down through Jason Gregory's super boot and putting more pressure on the St. George team. They can't run 90 or 80 metres to score a try at this stage of the game.
Scrum going down, Stone it was. And the score here at the Sydney Football Stadium, Canberra 15, St. George 6. Right down to the wire, Jeremy Donoher on a great run, went charging ahead to score underneath the post only moments ago. And this kick from Ian Heron added the 2 extras, and St. George are only 3 points behind with only 3 minutes left in the match. As now we see Canberra bringing the ball back after a little chip and chase didn't come up for St. George. And Canberra now just have to settle things down. They lead by 3 points, and that might be enough to get them home. 10 metres inside St. George's territory. There's still 3 minutes left in the match. Can they hang on as the ball, as Canberra charge ahead again? That was Deeth. Plays it down on the St. George quarter line. Here goes the little hooker. As Boyd is tackled, only 12 metres out. Last tackle against Canberra. Can St. George do something? As it's going to be Gregory, another shot at field goal. I think he's got that one as well. It is, and that will certainly seal it because they'll get the football back and hold it for 6, and that might be the ball game. State Bank replay, cool as you like. Jason Gregory adds his 2nd field goal of the President's Cup Grand Final, and that is enough to steer the Canberra Raiders home to victory as Heron quickly restarts play, and he might have kicked, oh, he doesn't get the good bounce. If he kicked that dead, St. George might have got it back, or would have, but they probably won't get a chance with the football again as McDonald brings it back to the quarter line.
Great spirit shown by the St. George side. Down and out not more than 5 or 6 minutes ago, and they fought their way back. It was unfortunate to come across a player like young Jason Gregory, that radar-like left boot of his, but he's the one that sealed the match for the Canberra side.
So here's Canberra with the ball just outside their quarter line. Stone to play it. Let's go to Wayne Goss and Ian Maurice.
Thank you, David. I know that you really wish the Broncos were here, but who do you tip?
Canberra, got to go for the Queenslanders, I reckon, by 12.
Well, Mr. Goss, it's wonderful of you to bring your weather with you anyway.
Yeah, a bit of Queensland weather does the game well to good.
Broncos in reserve grade, you got your fingers crossed?
Yeah, I think the boys will go well. They've come good right into the season. They'll give Canberra a real run for their money. I think they can get there.
Okay, enjoy the day.
Yeah, sure will.
Premier Goss from Queensland. Thanks, Dave.
So here's St. George with their last throw of the dice. They've got just over a minute left in the game. Now, can they put something on? They've got to go the length or half the length of the field as they bring it back the open side. 60 seconds left in the match. St. George to the halfway. Here's Heron. Heron comes. He gets around from Bryce Jones. He comes down to within 35 with it. He tried to keep the movement going, and perhaps his best option then was to probably take the tackle and see what they can do with the next one.
Yes, they had the defences, 6s and 7s then. Heron should have held the ball, played it, they could have gone again, but they've turned it over, and that's the ball game. They've only got to hold the ball, Canberra, now, to record their first lower grade grand final victory since they've entered the competition.
Let's go with Canberra just inside St. George's territory as they take it ahead. It's Rolls who'll get up and play it. 11 metres inside Saints half. Going from dummy half, the little hooker Brett Boyd, who's also had a tireless match. Less than 20 seconds left in the President's Cup Grand Final. Boyle, who's also had a mighty game, scored the try that got them back into business just after half-time, and Gregory kicks for touch and finds it, and that will probably be the ball game. There won't be time to pack the scrum. There's the siren. The Canberra Raiders have started the day in winning style. They've defeated St. George 16 points to 12 in the President's Cup. They really are going to enjoy it. They think they're the best, and why not? Minor premiers and premiers in President's Cup, and they've still got reserve grade and first grade to come. The stats of the match: Canberra 2 tries, Boyle and Deep, Bryce Jones 3 goals, but Gregory 2 vital field goals. Hodges and Donoher, of course, the try scorers for St. George, and Heron kicked 2 goals. But Canberra, in the end, just too strong with a mighty second-half performance. And Steve Stone, captain of Canberra this year, captain of South last year.
Yeah, super stuff by the Canberra boys. I know just how they feel winning a grand final. There's no greater feeling. A year's hard work, starting way back last January. And now that they've come through and they've finally won their grand final. It's a great day for Mick Doyle also. Mick Doyle, the coach of the Randwick the Canberra President's Cup side. Super stuff by Mick. He's brought them on.
Let's go down to the sideline. Graham Hughes with the man of the match.
Yeah, State Bank man of the match, and a very excited one, David Boyle. At 6-0 down early on, it wasn't looking so good.
No, I went out and talking dressing sheds. We knew we were well in it. They were tired. We knew we'd come back.
All right, start of the hat-trick?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
All right, well, it's a big day. $500 courtesy of the State Bank, straight into a State One account. Congratulations on a great year.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, great performance there.
All right, let's take it back upstairs now to David Morrow.
Great performance from David Boyle. He really was the man that set them on the road. He played very strongly in the first half, and he's the one that got them going in the second half, Russell.
Yes, nearly scored a couple of tries in the first half, but he was the one that started the ball right for Canberra, scored a try in the second half, and that was it for them.
So Canberra, an outstanding performance really. When you're down 6-0 and the other team seemingly almost went in just on half-time, but they came back. That was a very good performance. Perry Haddock out there with his St. George team. They feel crestfallen at the moment because they went so close. And Perry, he knows all about being out in the centre on a losing grand final day. He had the misfortune of being there in '85 when St. George were beaten 7-6. Craig Salmon and Khalil. But there's the winners. Bryce Jones getting involved there with Matthew Baker. And let's go down for the presentation of the President's Cup.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it always happens at grand finals. They're sitting there looking very disconsolate, but don't make them feel disconsolate when they come up here. Would you welcome Saints, the losers today, onto the field to come up here and accept their, I don't like to use the word losers, let's call them runners-up. Big hand when they come up, the St. George under-21s.
St. George boys, they'd be feeling very upset, of course, as Tony Priddle goes through and accepts congratulations from Cliff Lyons, of course, is there in the middle, the winner of this year's Dally M Footballer of the Year, and Ken Arthurson. They put in a big effort, but just at the final hurdle, they found it a little bit too hard to get over, but Great performance by St. George, though, because this team really was only moulded together this year by Perry Haddock. He's done a good job in getting into the grand final.
Yeah, he's done a great job, Dave, getting to the grand final, Haddock. But what's the future hold for Perry Haddock now? We have Brian Smith coming in as a new coach, and I mean, it's no secret that Haddock and Smith don't see eye to eye, but he's had a great season and deserves all the accolades that go with it.
Saints skipper Ian Herrick, just for a quick word.
And there's the winners, and they're already drinking the bubbly, and why not? Some of them have probably never tasted champagne. I'll know what it tastes like by the end of tonight. So Canberra trying to do what no club's ever done before, and that's win the minor premiership and the premiership in all three grades in the same year. The last time a club won all three grades in the same year, of course, was way back in 1963. St. George tried it in 85 and got defeated in first grade 7-6. Perry Haddock was part of that St. George team, of course. But here comes the Canberra Raiders, the winners of the President's Cup for 1990, led by Steve Stone as the referee, and the touch judges also received medallions to remember the day.
Welcome the chairman of the New South Wales and Australian Rugby Leagues, Ken Armstrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, if today's game that we just witnessed then is any indication of the sort of football we're going to have this afternoon, we're certainly in for a great day. Congratulations to Canberra. They were a little bit too strong. They just finished that little bit in front, but nevertheless, I think St. George supporters can be very, very proud of their team. They certainly didn't let anybody down. Ladies and gentlemen, to make the presentation to the losing team, we have with us today the winner of the Daily Messenger Award for the best and fairest player of the season, Mr. Cliff Lyons.
Just to Canberra, it was a great effort, and good luck in the future. Thanks a lot.
Well, here's the moment, ladies and gentlemen, that all young footballers pray and hope for, to come up here on grand final day and accept their winning trophies and the accolades of you, the crowd at the football stadium. Steve Stone and the Canberra Raiders President's Cup Rugby League team.
Well, the under-21s result is well known now, 16 points to 12 to the Canberra side. They've won the first of their three premierships that they're after today. They've got the reserve grade and first grade to go. Let me give a big rap to Eddie Ward, the referee, who I thought had an absolutely splendid game today. Really, I didn't disagree with any of the decisions the man made. And if we get a good decision out of Harrigan, the way this one's gone, I think it'll be a pretty good afternoon all round. Also, let me just make a little comment about something that happened during the game. Brett Mullins, the Canberra centre three-quarter, who's the son of Bill Mullins, who used to play for Eastern Suburbs and I think played for Australia, ran out of both of his boots in one long run. I've seen players run out of one. It's ridiculous to run out of two. Either he should get them nailed to his feet, his boots, or put glue in them, or do something, because it's absolutely ridiculous to see a player going along like that at the end of a run. Many good players on display today. I thought that David Boyle's performance was excellent. He was a very, very crafty player, scored the initial try for the Canberra side that got them back into the play. At half-time, they were down 6 points to 0. So it's a very worthy win to the Canberra team. They got motivated, they got very, very action-packed in the second half, and were able to do it very well. That's it from me. We're going to take a break right now, and we'll be back.
Making a cash award available to both of these great young outstanding athletes of $5,000 each, and Susie Moroney and Susie Walsham, congratulations.
Down to the grand final of 1990. Canberra are already home in the President's Cup. They're trying to make it 3 out of 3. As far as the big one is concerned, about 2.5 hours from now, this is the two sides that will line up again. Trying to overcome Canberra. And there it is as we pan across here, the Sydney Football Stadium. Great sight here on grand final day. And what a day it might be for Penrith if they get home their first grand finals. First appearance since they joined the competition in 1967. One man who is certainly proud. Little Roy Simmons, the Penrith champion, who has achieved everything but a grand final victory, maybe. By about 5 o'clock today, he will have achieved that as well. All right, well, we'll take a break here. Grand Final Day 1990. Be back with the reserve grade grand final right after this.
My dears, as one of Sydney's proudest sons, let me say at this juncture, more power to the Panthers. This is Sydney. It is the Sydney Rugby League competition, and we wish the Panthers well. Yes, I know I'm normally a Seagull supporter, but today it's the Panthers' day. Oh, yes. Canberra were the premiers last year, and they certainly have aspirations and many supporters here today. But I don't think I could cope with another 12 months living with that lime green. Bile green. Ooh, you just can't wear anything with it.